Welcome back to World History. I'm Mr. McCall. Today what we're going to be working on is we are going to describe how Mesopotamians modified their physical environment to solve geographic problems. So we're talking about the problems that they had based on where they lived, their land, and what they did to the land to fix those problems. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so what we have right here is just a quick review of the problems that we talked about before. They had food shortages. Alright, so based off of where they lived, they started farming, but they still had food shortages. So what they did is they moved away from mountains that did not have good fertile land. They moved into the fertile floodplains of Mesopotamia and Sumer. Sumer being the southeast section of Mesopotamia. So that's the first thing they did. I'm going to put right here, moved. Alright, so they solved that one. Alright? Now, once they get there, they start to realize there's another problem. And their problem is that there's an uncontrolled water supply. So what they do is they work together to build irrigation systems. So they build these irrigation systems around the river that kind of branch out and supply water. So instead of just having a little bit of land around the river that gets water, they have irrigation systems, canals, trenches that deliver water to people that live a little bit further away so that they can have more land for farming. Now, they had to work together to build these. They had to work together, not just to build them, but to maintain them. All right, so there's our second problem. They built canals, trenches, and made irrigation systems. Now, this is where they run into another problem. They've put in the work, they work together to build these canals and trenches and irrigation systems, but some people aren't taking care of them. What are they going to do? Well, that's when they make city-states. Alright, so that's when we see these city-states form. Because they've built these intricate irrigation systems, and they need to find a way to govern them, to take care of them. They have to find a way to govern the use of their canals and trenches. Because if they don't, they already know that the silt will build up in the canals and the trenches, and it'll totally destroy the irrigation systems. Which brings us to another problem. The next problem is they have to deal with attacks from neighbors. They're being attacked by neighbors, and those irrigation systems are easily destroyed by neighbors. So what do? Well, they build their city-states, and around their city-states they're going to build walls. All right, they're going to take sun-baked mud bricks. They make a brick of mud, set it out in the sun for a while, it bakes it, it hardens, and then they make that into their wall. So they build their city walls, but that's not enough. What they do is they also dig trenches around their city walls so that they have a moat, that they a trench that they can fill with water, and they have their moat and their city wall to protect them. So that is how they address this one. And this is something they had to do. They had to have city walls and moats because this area that they lived in, Mesopotamia, Sumer, is flat land. There's no mountains to protect you. There's no hills to protect you. It was very easy for people to travel along this quickly. So if one person wanted to take over a city, not one person, but one leader wanted to lead their army and take over a city-state, they could do that. They could travel quickly. They needed to have some sort of defense. So today, what we talked about was describe how Mesopotamians modified their physical environment to solve geographic problems. We looked at each of these problems and we talked about how they were solved. Hope this was edifying. This has been World History with Mr. McCall. Take care.